Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to learn about how to teach online. It's a very interesting concept, and once you learn, it'll be a skill that you'll have forever. Simply put, the first thing you want to do is create learning outcomes. Learning outcomes are what you use to measure if you're effectively teaching your course. So you start with the end in mind. Your learning outcomes, you start with your objective, your learning objective, you create an assignment for that, and then through there you have your learning approach. So think about determining your outcome. It's a behavior that you're trying to change, right? So you want to make sure that at the end of this course or this assignment or whatever, you've changed the behavior. So right now we're going to look at how to create objectives, and we're going to use an easygenerator.com. And this is a great way to create objectives. So right now, I'm going to type in something that I do all the time. I teach informatics. So maybe one of my learning objectives would be my students will be able to define informatics concepts. So you want to choose from the left a level of knowledge to obtain, understanding, remembering, applying, and then you'll see all the different words, these verbs that you can select to create your goal. You'll see at the top you did the who, and that was my informatics students. We just did the what, and now we're going to do the how. And so you want to be able to backspace from what you had before and put in the how. And so as you can see, I'm saying that my informatics students will be able to distinguish between clinical and non-clinical informatics concepts. All right? Now, once you have this learning objective, you want to say how they're going to do it. And so they're going to do it through whatever your course workflows or assessments or quizzes. And this is the objective that you have. And then based on that, you will use that for your course. So here you can clip it to a board. And now you can take those learning objectives and you can start to flesh out how much work it's going to take. So right now, this is a workload estimator. And this is something that you can use to determine the assignments that you're giving them, the pages, the difficulty, what's the purpose, how many hours it's going to have to take them, whether they have to do videos, podcasts, and if they have discussion posts, how many posts will they have a week, if it's text or what format, any other assignments. And then once you get all that together, you will have the information you need to put together your course schedule, or what I call a course grid. So as you can see, there's many drop downs, and you want to take your time so that you understand what the student is doing for each learning objective. And hopefully you have 1, 2, or 3 objectives that you're trying to get your students to learn and understand and apply, about 3 per week for each module. Some modules are going to be really complex, so you might only have 1. And since you're the instructor, you're the one that's going to determine how many things they're going to do. And that's how you're going to create your course workload. And then you would input this workload into the workload estimator. And then based on that, you can tell pretty much how many hours it's going to take per week or per semester for the assignment, for the assignments. And then you also want to make sure that you add in how many meetings you're going to have a week. And so you can see at the end, that's the whole workload estimate, right? So now you know what you're going to be doing for your course and how you're going to be working with your students. And so based on that, you will create your course description. You'll create the learning objectives. These are the things that your students are going to be doing. You will create the actual time they're going to spend. And more importantly, you're going to create the course schedule. And this is like the weeks when you're going to meet, the date, whatever reading, those assignments you had, and then the due dates, and then you'll show them the task at the bottom, the points they'll get. And so now you get a chance to look at your teaching approach, right? And so like Benjamin Franklin says, tell me and I forget, teach me, I remember, and involve me and I never forget, I learn. So this is the Canvas Learning Management System, and this is where you create all of your courses. This is where you have your course description. Those are the learning objectives, those objectives we just were talking about. You'll have your book that the students need to have. And then you have an introduction to the course syllabus where you talk about what the course is about. And this is the course laid out based on that grid I showed you earlier. Each and everything you're going to do in the course when, and then you have the details for each and everything that you're doing there. So as you can see over to the left is all the elements that you're going to need. So for the modules, this is what the students use every week. So you might want to have an introduction module, and this is where you're going to give the students some kind of activity and then ask them to introduce themselves. You'll go through and you'll have the syllabus, and this is where you'll plug in the syllabus and it'll have all of the information about the class, the objectives, the grades, the activities, the course schedule, how much time they're going to spend in the course, and then all of the other things that the university says that you must have. You'll also have things like your Zoom meeting or WebEx meeting, how you're going to meet. You want to have the links in place so that they never have to wonder where they are. And then if you're using any kinds of tools, open source tools, you want to make sure you give them access to that. So this is the first week, and here we talk about what is a project. I may have a recording for them to look at. I may have a presentation for them to look at. And then based on that, they should have done the readings, the presentation, and then when we come to the class, I may have activities that I'm going to have them do so they get an understanding of some of the things they've learned. I may lecture on a few other things that are critical that I want them to understand. And so each one of these modules present itself for the week. So then here's an assignment. So that I give them a scenario, I tell them about the assignment, I give them the resources, and then below I give them the rubric. This is telling them how I'm going to grade them and how many points they're going to get. What's the criteria for it? They're going to get 40 points, and then the points are divided through the different criteria. You also have the template. So you want to give them everything they need for the assignment. So here's the business needs template. This is what you use in project management to define the need of the customer, or whether it's internal or external. And I'm showing them, I go through and tell them that the blue area is where they're supposed to make their changes. And then after that, I also show them what a finished one may look like, right? I show them also any discussions for that week that they have to have. I give them the criteria for the discussions. And then again, like I said, I give them their assignment. So here's another assignment that they have for the week, and this is a stakeholder analysis. And so again, I give them the article that they should read. I give them the template that they should use, and then they don't have to wonder, how do I need to do this, whatever. And then you'll also see they also have the due date. So this is the project stakeholder analysis. I'm showing there's instruction. So that's what I teach. One of the courses I teach is project management for health informatics professionals or health information systems or informatic practitioners. And so these projects are a little different than a regular project that you're on, because it's specifically around clinical and non-clinical information, workflows, and even clinical data, financial data, events in the hospital. And so here's the examples of some of the assignments that I've showed you, what they look like. And so I'll show them what it looks like so they get a sense of, if they're going in the right direction. They don't get a chance to keep this. I show this during my online class. and I show them and I talk to them about the how and what the students did, where they pulled the information from. And here is the stakeholder analysis. I show them a completed stakeholder analysis so they know what that looks like, right? And so once you put all of the things that you want to do in your course, then you outline them from week to week. And I also have, this is something for me, I have the presentation that I'm going to show them for that week. And so when I get online, all I need to do is pull up the presentation. I can answer questions. I can review the syllabus for this week. I can show them the presentation. Or if there's a scenario, because they've already done their learning and maybe we're going to do group activities where they are getting together and practicing a certain concept so that when it's time to do their homework, they'll know how to do it better because they, I went over any questions they had. So most of my courses are only 8 weeks because I teach accelerated courses. And so as you can see, I've taken my class schedule, my learning objectives, and I've parsed them out in a 8-week sequence. They have all of everything that they need there in order to do the work. I also have all the rubrics, which give them a sense of all the criteria that they're going to be graded on, so they don't have to worry about that. And as you can see here, you can update the rubric, especially if you've changed the assignment, added something to, taken something from, and then you have these rubrics that you can use over and over again. They actually stay in your files. So this one is for the open EMR, electronic medical record, and this is all about reviewing one before you work with your client. This one, you can see there's a lot of information here because I wanted to give them really detailed information because this is a final project. It's their project management plan, and so they'll know what they're going to be graded on. And this one is the stakeholder analysis, and that was the assignment you saw earlier. It's worth 20 points, and you can see that we're using this rubric for that. The other thing is you can set up project teams. So for this class, I always have project teams because then there's so much work to do and you get to spread it out. These are the actual assessments. You have the midterm and the final. And so that's a little bit about those modules. So stay tuned to our next video, which I'm going to try to give it to you by next Wednesday at 6 p.m. Again, I am working on trying to get my videos up and then get a little more regular with bringing you these videos. I thank you so much for watching. All right, this is the Online Agile. Take care now.